Okay, with this episode of ReZero, it is really unpredictable. Like what I mean is that since Subaru has gone through many loops before and used Return by Death a lot, you'd think he would know what to do. He would come up with this epic plan on the spot. He would go through the plan, everything would be a-okay. But no, this episode did not go that way. This episode did not go Subaru's way at all. It makes you think that since he's been through so many loops before, he would know what to do, and what Subaru would think is right would be the right thing to do. But nah, it ain't. But anyways, without further ado, let's just jump right into Season 2, Episode 6 of ReZero Season 2. Alright, so this episode starts off where the last one left off, after Elsa killed Subaru. Return by Death activated, and the part I wanted to know, along with probably all of you, is where exactly would Subaru reset to, and that is right after he just finished his trial in the sanctuary. And as Subaru realizes this, he also realizes that Emilia had just failed the trial, and he remembers from the previous loop that she went through some serious shit in her past. So he went over to her and started comforting her and basically saying that everything will be alright. But after that, it cuts to Subaru with Otto, Emilia, Ram, Garfield, and that small pink old elf, I'm guessing she's an elf, Ryuzu, talking about the trial, and Subaru tells them that he actually took the trial and he actually passed, and he tells them that there are actually 3 trials, and he kind of proposes something that Emilia and the rest of them don't really take to, and that's that he should take the trials so that Emilia doesn't have to, because whatever she went through in her past kind of fucked her up big time. And Garfield, he don't really like that, and Emilia definitely doesn't like that. She wants to take the initiative for once and complete the trial without Subaru's help, and to be able to go through this shit over and over again through whatever her past was, it's just damn, that would take some real courage, dude. Just makes me wonder how terrible her past was. After a conversation with Subaru, Ryuzu, and Garfield talking about Roswell, Subaru realizes that he needs to get back to the mansion as fast as he can. And with this, Subaru comes up with an idea, and he goes to talk to Roswell, and his idea is to get the people of Arlem Village back home, and so they can see their families and everyone, and just make sure they're alright. But we all know the real reason. Subaru just wants to get back to the mansion so he can be sure that everything's fine. But I'm also sure that Subaru actually cares about the villagers, and he just wants them to see their families and shit. But after this, Subaru along with Ram get on Subaru's ground dragon, and they're about to head back to the mansion. And while they're doing this, Garfield shows up, and they have a conversation about whether or not they should leave. And Garfield tells them that he won't stop them, and he just asks Subaru if that he should tell Emilia that he's leaving. But Subaru tells him that he left her a note. Man didn't tell her in person, he left her a fucking note, dude. But as they're about to leave, Subaru asks Garfield if he's gonna give him anything, and what he's implying is that if he's gonna give him that crystal necklace. Garfield doesn't really know what he means, but he still gives him that crystal necklace anyway. The one that caused the trap basically in the first I think it was the second episode that caused Subaru to teleport and Emilia to get knocked out. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that when Subaru was trying to explain to Garfield and the rest of them that he should take the trials, or take the sanctuary trials, that Garfield disagreed with them. I did mention that, but in the last episode, Garfield said that Subaru should take the trials, and this kind of confused Subaru, so I guess we'll see what happens with that. But after riding on Subaru's dragon, they finally make it back to the mansion, and that's when they meet up with Petra, and Subaru's reaction, dude, is just like, he's just so glad to see her, glad that she's alright. Because in the last loop, I'm assuming that Elsa killed her, and Subaru is just so glad to see her, and he gives her a huge hug and all, and it's kind of adorable, really. And Petra's just sitting there like, alright, it's good to see you too. Subaru then asks Petra if anything weird has been going on lately, and he asks her if anything weird has been going on with Frederica, so to speak, lately, and Petra tells him that nothing has been going on and everything is pretty much normal. But after that, Petra takes Subaru and Ram to go see Rem, and as they're like looking at Rem together, Ram asks Subaru if he could leave and like let her just be alone with Rem, because I'm pretty sure she realized that Rem was her younger sister through blood. I think they mentioned that like later in the episode. But after Subaru leaves, he meets up with Frederica, and he starts to question her about like everything that's happened and if she's up to something. And in response to this, Frederica doesn't know like anything or like what's going on, or like doesn't really know what's happening at all. That's when Ram shows up and says that Frederica can't really say anything because of an oath, and Ram calls that oath a pathetic excuse. But while they're trying to get information, this is when shit hits the fan and fucking Elsa shows up with a knife to Petra's throat. And that's when Subaru's like, oh shit. But then Ram comes in and throws a magic spell at Elsa called El Fula, which she dodges and does some serious damage to the mansion, like ripping up the walls and destroying doors and shit. And that's when Frederica runs in and starts to try and like scratch and attack Elsa. Ram then shoots another one at Elsa, and this kind of fucks up her arm, like leaves kind of a gash on it and it's bleeding and shit. And while Elsa is talking and saying how she's gonna kill them and see what's inside their stomachs, Subaru uses Shamrock, and this distracts Elsa for a little bit so that all four of them can escape, and they jump out the window, but not without Elsa injuring Subaru and Frederica with some needles in like their backs. That's when Ram tells them that the best idea should be to leave Beatrice and Rem and to make a run for it back to the sanctuary. But Subaru does not like this idea at all, and he wants to go back inside and save Rem and Beatrice. Also, Frederica and Petra agree with them. So with that, Frederica decides that she's going to distract Elsa long enough so that they can get Rem and Beatrice out of there, and she transforms in this large beast. And this transformation is cool as shit. Frederica then jumps back through the window to go fight Elsa, and with that, Petra, Subaru, and Ram go to save Rem first. And as they're walking through the halls of the mansion, a fucking mob beast shows up, and this motherfucker is huge, dude. Subaru is just thinking like, oh shit, and the mob beast starts to run at them, and all three of them run inside a room. Ram tells them to hide, and Subaru and Petra hide behind a chair, and Ram then destroys the door, allowing the mobbies to get inside, and she then runs out the window, allowing the mobbies to follow her. And with that, we're left only with Petra and Subaru. Petra takes the needle out of Subaru and wraps up his wound, and then Subaru wraps up Petra's wound, like because she cut her hand taking out the weapon. And as they're about to leave, this large explosion comes out of nowhere, like something crashing through the mansion, and this like kind of knocked Subaru out for a little bit, and when he wakes up, he's like barely conscious. Everything is just like kind of all over the place, and we see Ram take Subaru and Petra and put them on Subaru's Dragon so that they can head back and like get to safety. And this is all from the point of view of the barely conscious Subaru. But as they're running away on Subaru's ground dragon, and as they're like running away, out of nowhere this thing crashes into them, which I'm assuming is the mob beast, and this results in Petra and Subaru like flying through the air and landing and crashing through a window and landing back in the mansion. And at this point, Subaru is just like, he is wounded as hell. His right eye is covered in blood, and he can like barely see, and that's when he looks over at Petra, and Petra ain't looking so good, and I'm thinking Petra died. And when Subaru saw this, his reaction, man, it's just like, man, you gotta feel bad for him. He's been through so much shit, and it's just like a never-ending pile. It just keeps coming and coming, and Subaru can never seem to get a break. Just when you think things are starting to die down and everything will be alright, something terrible happens. Everyone fucking dies, and then Subaru has to reset, and Subaru has to save everyone by coming up with some god-tier plan that works out perfectly in the end. Subaru then gets up, and as he's walking through the halls with the handkerchief, I'm guessing that's what it is, that Petra gave him, Elsa shows up, and Subaru asks, where's Frederica, and it turns out that even Frederica was taken out, even after she transformed into that badass beast form. Subaru then asks Elsa who sent her, but Elsa doesn't really feel like revealing that, and decides to just kill Subaru. And as Subaru is just, like, at this point, he's just accepted his fate, and he accepts that he's going to reset again. And as Elsa is going to kill him, he ends up going through a room, and this room turns out to be, like, Beatrice and the library, and it turns out that Beatrice saved him, I'm guessing. And this kind of pisses off Subaru, and he wants to know why she saved him. And with that, the episode ends there. I gotta say, overall, this episode was pretty good. Finally getting the darker aspects of Season 2, and the overall darker aspects of ReZero, which I gotta say is really enjoyable to watch, and is one of the reasons why ReZero is as good as it is. To me, I feel like this episode was better than the last one, but I still feel like episode 4 is the best episode so far. But who knows, we might have another episode in the future that is like far, far better than episode 4. But I don't know yet, we'll just have to wait and see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also go subscribe to other channels, the links to those will be down in the description below. Also go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and links to those will be down in the description as well. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.